Where do we even start? I was quite shocked to see on my watch along so many people were saying Thomas Tuchel out. That's not the solution, man. That really isn't the solution.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Southampton 2, Chelsea 1. Match reaction for you. I'm actually shocked. I'm actually shocked with the line, the score line. I didn't expect this. Moving into this match, I was actually hopeful, confident as well, to a certain degree, that we're going to get ourselves the victory. But the same scenario, the same situation, the same issues materialize, and I'm going to get to that. Obviously, it didn't look like that in the first 20-25 minutes, and we've got a tactical video for that later on, which I'll drop. I'll tell you what transpired. First 20-25 minutes, back four, 3 in midfield, 3 up front. And we were looking good. And Mason Mount was playing really well. Havertz was playing really well, and we're getting into these pockets of space. And it seemed like Southampton was going to get opened up many a times. Our only issue is we didn't get to absolutely finish things off in the first 20-25 minutes. We should have maybe got 2 goals minimum, and we didn't get that. But I knew a goal was coming, and eventually enough Sterling did get that goal. But after that, as I said, there'll be a tactical video coming out later on tomorrow. Southampton, they were smart. They started to make sure that they didn't allow us to play from that Cucurella side. Because the first 20-25 minutes, if you guys would notice, we were enjoying a lot of the good football from that left side. Cucurella, Mason Mount, Havertz, good link up, finding the ball and finding Sterling. And as soon as they pick that up, they're like, no. We're going to block things off as much as we can from there. And we'll allow Azpilicueta all the room. And as soon as Aspie was allowed room, we started seeing space behind Aspie. Aspie himself trying to move forward, lose a sense of direction. And everything sort of was tightened up on that left side. And then we fell into the same old trap where now when the opposition does this, the question is, you're going to ask, well, what's Thomas Tuchel's reaction? You can't react to everything. At that point, you need players to start performing individually. Cucurella, at that point, when all the focus Southampton pushed to the left side, making sure it was a lot more tighter, you need players like Mason Mount to be able to go 1v1. You need players like Havertz to be able to go 1v1. Prior to that, it was a bit open. Southampton was just not tactically there. And that's why we were finding those nice little passes. Because we always had that advantage in midfield against Southampton. But once they picked that up, they tightened things up. Now there's no more advantage. Now we need our players to individually perform. And this is where we get unstuck. Once we ask our players to individually perform, get the paper, rip it up, throw it. Jorginho in midfield starts getting exposed. Mason Mount loses the ball up front. Southampton player picks up the ball and just drives through Jorginho like Jorginho didn't even exist. Because Jorginho, we know, by yourself, you're not going to cut it. Individually, when players are asked to do their roles, it ain't going to cut it. The goal that they scored, the first one, Azpilicueta, in that area where he just didn't know what was going on. He just kicked it out for a corner, led to a corner. That set-piece defending is unbelievable. All our players, the entire team was literally stuck with Mendy. It's like we didn't even anticipate that there was going to be a second ball that could fall for Southampton player just outside the box for them to smash it in. Lavia, or whatever his name is for the Southampton player, had so much time. Even before he even triggered the shot, I was like, this is a goal. Because it's almost as good as a penalty. He had all that time and space to lace up a shot. My question is, whose who's constructing the defense? Like who's directing who needs to be where? Why is the entire Chelsea team, I kid you not, it was just Sterling who was just at the edge of the box. Everyone else was in the box alongside Mendy. So deep. Then they get the equalizer, they're buzzing, and they fine-tune that side on the left, their right, and all of a sudden, players like Havertz, Mason Mount, Jorginho, all of these players are just negated out of the game. Kai Havertz, honestly, I was doing the watch-along. There was a counter-attack in the second half, and he was offside. This is now a pattern with Kai Havertz. When you're offside so regularly, that tells me you're not focused. Your attention to detail is not there. It was so frustrating. There was a nice cross that came in for Kai Havertz. Can't remember who put that cross in. He was inside the box with all that height advantage that Kai has. No pressure on him. He skied the header. The header went over the bar. Didn't even hit the target. It's come to a point, it's now frustrating to watch Kai Havertz. For the little moments that we saw Broja come in, he looked a lot sharper. It's high time we start looking into replacing Havertz, putting him into the bench, and giving other players an opportunity. Mason Mount, as I said, nullified, nothing. I didn't even see Mason Mount disappeared again. He did another one of those Houdini act like he did in the last match against Leicester. After the first 20, 25 minutes, he disappeared. And I'll tell you why he gets disappeared, because 1v1, he can't take his players on. He needs players in and around him. And the players that are in and around him are also not good 1v1. Jorginho. You put pressure on Jorginho, he will lose the ball. Jorginho 1v1 off the ball, you will skip past him. Kai Havertz next to Mason Mount. You give him the ball, 1v1, there's nothing with Kai Havertz either. All of these things then starts having a domino effect. One player plays bad, another player starts playing bad. Then it just trickles on. Azpilicueta was having stinker. He was having a stinker, Azpilicueta. The amount of times he kept on getting outrun by the Southampton players in the wing was mad. They were easily whipping in crosses from that right side of us, their left side. Easily skipping past Azpilicueta and whipping in the cross. Southampton, to be honest, should have been probably winning their second half 4-1. I'm not even kidding. Now, in regards to the lineup, I like the lineup. For the back, what's there not to like? Koulibaly, Silva in the middle, Cucurella, Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta is someone we got forced because no Reece James, or else it would have been Reece James. And if it was Reece James, I don't think we'd get that shambolic performance as we got from Azpilicueta. Nothing against Aspi, but we know this about Aspi. I love Aspi, but we know this. He ain't cutting it anymore. This is why I'm baffled that we've given him another 2-year contract when Barcelona was begging to take him. In midfield, we need something different as opposed to Jorginho. We need someone who's got the ball-playing ability of Jorginho, that vision, that ideology, but at the same time, the physicality, the robust nature. Because Jorginho, when the opposition figures out our game and we rely on individual performances, which is fine, because at the end of the day, football is about individuals trying to showcase their attacking skill set. Yes, you can be as tactical as possible. I don't even think tactically we got this wrong. I honestly don't even think tactically we got this wrong. We just don't have the ingredients. Individual brilliance. We are set up nicely tactically. But if the individuals are not good enough, tactics don't matter. In midfield, and this is where I guess some blame can come to Thomas Tuchel. Why don't you trust players like Ampadu? At least maybe with a robust defensive midfielder, the opposition players don't just run through us. And I don't even think Ampadu is bad on the ball. Ampadu is fairly decent. But still, changing that doesn't mean everything becomes rosy up front. Let's say, for argument's sake, we do bring in an Ampadu. That doesn't change anything up front. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I can't sit here and be overly angry. I'm annoyed with certain players, but I can't be angry with the manager completely, because what's the manager meant to do there, man? Until and unless I see what happens till Thursday, who comes in, because we need some players coming in. We need Aubameyang coming in, so then Sterling can start playing on the left. That way, Mount, if he is playing, he doesn't have a Kai Havertz on the left. He's got Sterling, who's able to take his man on. We need a player like, I don't know whether Zaha is going to happen or not, but that profile who can take their man on from the right side. Hakim Ziyech, after much like the first 20-25 minutes, even Hakim Ziyech disappeared. The first few minutes, Hakim Ziyech was looking great. That coast-to-coast pass to Havertz that he found in the first half before we went up 1-0. He was doing well. But as soon as Southampton sort of tightened things up a little bit on our left side, even Hakim, that domino effect, everyone started to look bad. Everyone started to look bad. I can't be Thomas Tuchel out, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot. This owner has invested too much money on Thomas Tuchel now. We cannot get rid of him now. It's not even a question. You don't bring in players like Koulibaly, Sterling, Cucurella, Wesley Fofana, and whoever else, only for him to get sacked and then bring a new manager in. It just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You think the new manager comes in, then they're going to be demanding their players. We're in the mess right now because of all of these managers that have been sacked. Yes, we've won stuff, but this sacking culture has given this fan base this bad attitude, man. We don't seem to be patient. We have to be patient. We have to be patient. Look at Arteta now. Do you know how many times Arteta should have been sacked? If he was a Chelsea manager, he would have been sacked 9-10 times over. New manager comes in who want his players. New manager comes in, all of a sudden, new manager doesn't like, let's say, doesn't like Cucurella. All of a sudden doesn't like Sterling. Wants his own new players. And then 5 games into the new manager, where they're starting to get bad results, then you want the new manager gone too. Who are you going to bring in anyway right now? Who's a possible candidate? There is no possible candidate right now. Too late. And I don't want it anyway. Thomas Tuchel hasn't brought in his players until and unless we start seeing all his players. I'm not going to sit here and forget what Thomas Tuchel did back in Dortmund or in PSG. The kind of players that he had over there in his locker. Some of our players, now you can say, well, he's the one who's picking. He's picking because right now all the injuries are killing us as well. Who's he meant to pick instead of Azpilicueta today? Reece James is ill. Chalobah is injured. Who else could he have picked in that area? As I said, maybe his judgment in regards to certain players like Billy Gilmore, Ampadu, Chukwuemeka maybe, something he could try as opposed to Jorginho. Kovacic is still not ready to play the entire match. Kante is injured. Ruben Loftus-Cheek does a job, but not good enough today. Ghost as well again. He needs to be closer to Jorginho. If you're going to play Jorginho, you know the flaws of Jorginho. You've got to play Ruben close to Jorginho. Ruben was at times too far away from him. Now you can say, why does Jorginho need protection? We know he needs protection. No point in arguing that fact. Another drop points. I'm shocked. I thought we were going to get the win. Man United got 3 points against these guys, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about that match. I'm annoyed, disappointed, but I have to wait till see how the transfer window finishes up. And then we can make a judgment as to whether we can make top 4 or not. Until then, too early to say yet. Thursday, we'll figure out who's coming in, who's leaving. That'll give us a better opportunity to see what's going on. Smash the like button, guys. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe It's the least you can do for the channel. I shall see you guys for some programs tomorrow. Until then, see ya.